Welcome back to Casual Opinions podcast today. It's a podcast where we talk about nerdy stuff and we yell at each other sometimes, and it's fun. Today we're gonna talk a little bit, maybe sprinkle a bit about Marvel just for like a couple of minutes or something. Then, of course, the meat of it is going to be Obi Wan Kenobi episode 4, the fourth episode of Obi Wan Kenobi, which is apparently not good from some people's opinions, but I don't know. We'll get into that here in a little bit. And then we'll also talk a little bit about our favorite Star Wars video games because I had just finished replaying a Star Wars video game, which kind of got me thinking about it. And also, as we will discuss, this episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi seems very heavily inspired by one of the Star Wars games. I am Zach Kellner, joined again by Caleb Joji Stan Kellner, and Bailey, the pirate. Yarg,
cool.
matey, raise your flag. And yeah, that's the team for the day. Bailey's a pirate.
Let's go.
Caleb's a Joji simp.
Yeah.
I believe they identify as weebs.
Joji fans are weebs. Yeah, there's probably plenty of crossover there.
No,
it's anime. Oh, Joji. I was thinking
Yeah.
JoJo. My bad.
Oh, Caleb is anti JoJo.
Yeah, I'm not a JoJo guy. I think it's overrated and just dumb looking.
There probably could be like a Joji anime though. Like I could see that.
He's building the whole universe, man. Yeah.
Yeah, the JCU.
No,
JCU, the Joji Cinematic Universe. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm ready for
Joji's.
That song out already?
Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, it came out.
Is it good? I assume.
Yeah, it's
probably
good.
Good.
It's good. I like the one that he featured on with Ray Brown that just came out better.
Gotta stay up on that. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Although
not at all.
Joji is quite fun.
Yes.
Today we're going to talk about those things that I already said we're going to talk about. So we'll start first with Miss Marvel, which just came out, released one episode so far. And as I was saying before we started, is currently rated as, through one episode, of course, is currently Rotten Tomatoes, which again, take with a grain of salt, but currently rated as the best Marvel project across everything. I think I was at a 97 last I saw it. The best line that was, I think they got Black Panther at a 96 for what that's worth. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on the first episode? Is it the greatest Marvel property to date?
It was fine.
No.
Definitely not the greatest thing, but it was fine.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be just super cringe, teenager. I couldn't handle it, but it wasn't.
That's exactly what I went into it thinking, because
Yeah.
I saw like everyone talking about it as like, oh, it's like the Disney Channel original TV shows or whatever for teens, and I was like, oh no, that's not good.
Yeah.
And then I watched it and I'm like, no, this is fun. This feels like it has some style to it, and some care put into everything. So
that's what I liked about it the most, was just kind of the like you said, Bailey, the style of it. I liked how they like did the text messages and like the neon signs and like just the art.
graffiti.
That I thought was cool. Because I too was like, oh no, is it going to be like Kids Bop Marvel? Which not that Marvel was like particularly edgy, but is this going to be more like a YA novel for Marvel? And maybe it will be, but so what? That's fun, and it wasn't super cringe either. I know Caleb doesn't like child actors or much at all, and I've been watching.
I wouldn't say these were child actors.
That's true. It's not like this is an 8-year-old.
I was about to say most of them have like already graduated high school, I think.
That's fair.
Oh,
the nerdy boyfriend, or I guess not. They're not boyfriend, but the
potential love interest.
Yeah, I've actually seen him in something, so it's like it was a familiar face, so it's like it's fine.
Interesting. I've been watching, been finally getting to Stranger Things season 4, and so far, the kids in Stranger Things season 4 are a little more cringe than the kids in Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Like I got to the part where they just like freaking assault. Have you seen it, Bailey?
I've got through like episode 5.
Okay, so you're further along than me. They just like entire roller skating rink just assaults freaking
Yeah, that was pretty
11.
wild.
Yeah.
And then they're just like lol 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 lol, and then everybody's surprised when she bashes that chick in the face.
Right?
I know. I was like,
Right?
go
I'm
11,
like,
honestly.
This
I'm like
girl's a
sitting there
villain.
like, you all literally just berated this girl, and
There's
you
video
don't
evidence.
expect her to like retaliate?
Right.
Yeah.
And whenever she does, even though it's violent, it's like, some of you got to sit there and be like, well, yeah, we kind of did have this coming, didn't we?
Right.
And then I was telling Caleb the other day, I was like, Mike's the worst, because then Mike's just like gaslighting his girlfriend. He's like, yo, what the hell? Why would you do that? I thought you were like a good guy or something. She's just like, what did you not just see what happened here? Like, I don't know. I'll finish it, but they're long episodes. But
They are
Right.
long, yeah.
I will say the one cringe-worthy moment in Miss Marvel was that moment when she's doing the cosplay competition, and the Ant-Man head is rolling around, and it's
so
like destroying
fast.
For
things,
so
and
long.
everyone is
Yeah.
it's for so long, and everyone is just kind of like sitting there cheering.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this is
Yeah,
so
yeah.
cool. It's destroying everybody's property.
Well, yeah, it's
All of
destroying
these
property, and
boots.
people are literally having to dive out of the way. And
Mhm.
then the part where I actually cringed was whenever it knocked the giant Thor's hammer down, and that one girl is like standing there on the stage, like, "Oh my god, can you do birthday parties?" And then she
Oh,
turns
she just
around
gets
and
nailed by
gets
it?
shocked by it.
Yeah, that
And
was
I'm like,
really
It was like,
weird.
this girl has broken bones,
I was like, yeah,
probably.
is she dead?
Yeah,
Did she
it
get
looked
I,
like she
that's what
just
I was
got
thinking.
splatted right there. And then,
I
no,
think
she's just
they're
hanging
like,
on.
I think it's like paper mache or something, so it's probably
Still, the
okay.
momentum alone
Yeah, that
was
was
Momentum
crazy.
alone and something of that size would absolutely have like caused some damage. And
Mm-hmm.
the fact like she was hanging on to it, so it has some sort of like maybe plasticky finish. Because if it was paper mache,
yeah,
she
just
would have
crumble
just
through it.
torn it and it would have
Yeah,
crumpled. So I'm like,
yeah.
there's something more to it that absolutely should have hurt. But it's Disney, it's Marvel. I'm willing to
I kind of forgot
suspend
about
my
that.
disbelief. This is a universe where a man went after a glove of jewelry and snapped half of the universe out of existence.
It's
By the
true.
way, he's purple.
Barney the
Nut
dinosaur out
section.
there.
Yes. This is
But
a
yeah,
universe where I can suspend disbelief.
I think we're all. I think we all enjoyed it. I would certainly keep up with it. It's not one where like I'm probably not gonna like have to watch it right away when it comes out, but I'll definitely stay up
Yeah.
to date.
It's kind of feeling like Moon Knight, except with this one,
Sure.
I'm actually kind of looking forward to the next episodes.
Kind of
Because
agree
like
with
Moon
you.
Knight just felt like a chore. Like, oh yeah, I've got to make sure to watch
Yeah.
Moon Knight at some point.
Well, speaking of a chore, they released they released like the future slate for Marvel stuff, and good Christ,
So much.
there's a
Yeah.
lot. What a like
What was it? The
I'll
Thunder
ra-
something?
Oh, the
yeah,
Thunderbolt.
you're gonna love that one.
That's ridiculous. We got
gonna have
that
your
in the
boyfriend in
Eternals
it.
coming out. It's like, oh my god.
Wait,
There's-
they've already slated another Eternals?
No, I'm just saying we're gonna have so many characters in the MCU. It's just so
Oh.
much.
Well, you know
I
what the
mean-
Thunderbolts is, though, right?
I do think
boyfriend.
they're interesting. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited for that. I'm just saying in general, we're gonna have so many characters and like,
It's
how is this? It's just
I
a lot. It's just a
genuinely
lot.
do not see Marvel like lasting another like even 10 years if I'm being generous. I think it's going to die off at
I
some
kind of
point.
wonder the same
I
sometimes.
think they've got the next 20 years planned. Here's what they have: She-Hulk, Untitled Halloween Special, What If Season 2, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, Secret Invasion, Wakanda Forever, Quantumania, Guardians 3, The Marvels, X-Men 97, Spider-Man 4, Blade, Loki Season 2, Captain America 4, Deadpool 3, I Am Groot, Marvel Zombies, Spider-Man Freshman Year, Fantastic Four, Agatha House of Harkness, Armor Wars, Echo, Ironheart, Untitled Wakanda TV show, Okoye TV show, Daredevil, Shang-Chi TV show, Shang-Chi sequel movie, and Nova. It's the fact that they have they're gonna have well, like I don't know, it's weird. there's yeah, I don't know. There's
I
a lot.
almost don't like knowing all of that, honestly.
Yeah.
Right.
And then that's not even mentioning the Thunderbolts movie
This
TV show, which I think is probably gonna my prediction for the Thunderbolts TV show is it is January 6th, 2021, and the Thunderbolts are leading the storming of the Capitol.
Okay.
You know, and
And this is
John
based off what
Walker.
again, you asshole? I hate you so much.
current events, apparently.
No.
But
But
I mean, like what Caleb said, this I don't like knowing about it because it's just I I don't even think I want to rewatch anything Marvel now. Like knowing how much I have to look forward to, if we get to that point where there's that much
Yeah.
Marvel, it's
yeah,
gonna make rewatching everything a chore
Sure.
and
Yeah.
so monotonous and just tedious.
Like it was a
It's
fun
gonna
chore. Like I quote chore to like rewatch the MCU. It's like 20 something movies, but it's fun and you spread it out over time. But it's like, oh my god, now it's like
right.
all these 20 movies and all these other movies come out and TV shows. It's like, what the hell? I can't keep doing that every time I want to watch the MCU. You know?
A lot
Sure.
of a lot of commitment,
Yeah.
and I just don't think it's gonna be that fun at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But Miss Marvel is fun for what it is
For
right
what
now.
it is. Yeah.
I'm certainly probably I'm going to be far more likely to pick my spots on Marvel, and certainly I'm not going to be
Yeah.
rushing to things as
Right.
much as I have in the past. I think,
Yeah.
but I'm still rushing to the Obi Wan Kenobi episodes, watching them as pretty much as soon as they drop here.
Yeah.
And we're on to episode 4, which means we're 2/3 of the way through the series, or this season, perhaps. And yeah, it seems like episode 4 has been like the first one, at least that I've heard on the internet, where it's like people haven't loved it. I personally enjoyed it quite a bit, but let me do a quick little recap of the events of the episode before we get
Let's
going on
determine if this recap is going to establish that this episode is, as most people are referring to it, filler.
that.
Because
Jeez, I
we
don't
all
know.
know what a filler episode is, right? Something that contributes nothing to the ongoing plot.
I was gonna say there's certainly I couldn't call it filler, but let's get it going. It's a prison break episode. We start and Obi-Wan's still pretty crispy and burned up. SD flashback to Boba Fett back to Bath thing where he's having all these pop-ups of his most recent encounter with Vader. Very traumatic back to Bath there. He wakes up despite not being fully healed, demanding to know where Leia is, and as expected, Leia has been brought to the planet Nur, where they are at Fortress Inquisitorius out there in the ocean, where Reva is interrogating Leia about the path, the Jedi Underground Railroad. Leia does not give in. She's not a narc. She's not a snitch. And quite honestly, she's like running circles around Reva. There's been hints of Leia's force sensitivity here, but she's taken Reva to school. Reva does the Kylo Ren mind pull thing and gets Jack Diddley from Leia here. So Reva's like, all right, well, we'll just torture you then, I guess. While this is happening, Obi-Wan says, hey, we got to go in there. I'll do it without you guys if you don't want to help. But Tala has Imperial officer clearance, and they infiltrate Fortress Inquisitorius and try to track down Leia's location there. Tala goes to just like a random desk and starts messing around with the system. Obi-Wan has a lot more action oriented in here as he sort of conducts this Jedi Fallen Order inspired rescue. Tala and Obi-Wan are nearly caught after saving Leia by Reva, but they're bailed out last second by Tala's friends. I think they're named Wade and Sully. Wade gets blowed up, and then a very angry, terrifying Darth Vader just busts down the door, starts choking out Reva. He's getting ready to kill her before Reva mentions that she's put a tracker on Obi-Wan's ship. The episode ends sort of in this sad, touching moment where Leia grabs Obi-Wan's hand, and everybody's mourning the loss of Wade there. And we see Leia's droid Lola's eye light up red. It is presumably the tracker here for the crew. So that's the most of the episode. Certainly a more action-oriented one, I think. It was very prison breaky, and as I said a second ago, I really liked this, and it is very, very, very inspired by Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which I have just recently finished replaying. So I really liked it. I liked that we finally get to see Obi-Wan kind of, show some moves a little bit for the first time. I think it's clear that he's still shaking off the rust a little bit, but he's getting his reps in. I really like that part where he's in the dark and he gets the stormtrooper and
Coolest part.
then boom, puts his blade out and then gets the other guy out. I thought that was really cool. I liked Leia messing with Reva a lot. I thought that was fun. She was just like a hardened criminal, like I ain't gonna snitch. Which really I think builds her up more for the future when they're throwing other torture droids in her face, and she's just kind of like, bring it on. But yeah, what you guys think overall? Like I said, I think general internet vibes is that this is the worst episode so far, and like I guess I don't see it as much. Like I've seen a lot of people, and I've heard people say that they didn't really like this one, or that, I've liked this show until episode 4, and I'm just like, I don't know, I personally can't see like why you would like start poo-pooing on the show after this episode, because I thought it was good.
It's a little aggressive, definitely. I would say I was definitely thinking after this episode that it was probably my least favorite of all of them so far, but I wasn't like, I don't like the show anymore, the poop on the show, It was a fine episode, and I really liked that lightsaber part. What you said about Leia was fun. I am liking her a little bit more. Not to say I had an issue with the actress. I just was being dumb about the kid earlier, but that was pretty fun and everything. But I'm not hating on the episode. It was fine.
Yeah, no, it like the only real like talking point about this episode that anyone is bringing up is that exact discussion of why are people hating on this episode? It literally advances the plot, and the plot is Obi-Wan goes to save Leia despite his like hindrance of being cut off from the Force and not being a Jedi for 10 years. So that's the plot. But I think what everyone wants is for it to be Clone Wars live action or Clone Wars 2.0.
Right.
And they want to see Obi-Wan and like Anakin just run up to each other and start making out or
We'll
whatever.
get that in the
I
last
don't know.
episode, hopefully.
Exactly.
Really.
Just wait until the final episode and we'll get
Maybe
Obi-Wan
last
and
2 if
Anakin
we're
making
lucky.
out. Yeah. So we're gonna get a flashback. Like I'm sure we are, but
Yeah.
even if we don't, that's not gonna ruin the series for me. I came to watch the Kenobi series for Kenobi. And that's really all I expected. I wasn't expecting as much Darth Vader as we've gotten. I thought he was gonna be final episode. But he's showing up in end of episode 2 all the way through this point. And I think that's cool. We're getting to see scary Vader pursue Obi-Wan. Like, what more could you ask for?
He comes in and it's just like, and he just like
throwing
chokes
Reva down.
Reva. I'm just like, oh god.
Yeah,
I've seen way too many.
All the other Inquisitors are just
horny
like,
edits
ooh.
of that.
I'm glad that's not me. Also, I just think it's
there
a
are
little
people
wild.
who would want to be.
I just think it's a
choked
little
by
wild.
Vader.
Small detail. I don't know exactly like time period wise where everybody else is and what they would be doing, but like we're in the Fortress Inquisitoris. I would like to see another Inquisitor.
Well, Fifth Brother was in there, and I think the other
aside from the
as
ones,
well.
aside from the ones we've already seen in the show,
Yeah.
I'm talking like there's like all the way up to 13 plus Inquisitors, and we've only seen these 2 or 3 in the show. It's like I know some might be dead and some might be doing other things, totally possible, but like, come on, this is like the Inquisitor HQ. Let's see someone. Also,
Maybe they're going after Cal Kestis
when
at
are
this
they?
exact moment.
When are they? I wonder when they're gonna do something more with the Grand Inquisitor, because obviously he's not dead.
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking about
Speaking
that.
speaking
They
of,
got to get him back in at some point.
Yeah.
yeah, so with that, remember that point whenever she's going through the checkpoint and she basically threatens one of the officers with like, you wouldn't want the Grand Inquisitor to find out about this. Like, my dad thought that she had slipped up because the Grand Inquisitor was thought to be dead. But then the guy is just like, "Oh yeah, no, totally, go on through." So I think
They
that's
just
like,
don't know.
right, that's either they haven't revealed the Grand Inquisitor has gone through that,
Yeah.
or they know that he's alive and functioning somewhere and we just don't see him yet. So I like to think that's like a little subtle hint that, he's still kicking.
Maybe,
We all
but Vader was
know he
talking about
is, but
offering up the Grand Inquisitor spot, like presuming the Inquisitor was already dead.
exactly. So all the other Inquisitors are vying for that spot as well. Like Fifth Brother was like, I'm next in line. So there's that. So maybe they are keeping Grand Inquisitor status away from the Inquisitors because
Yeah.
Vader doesn't like the Inquisitors.
Yeah.
Um, oh, you know what else? Regarding Inquisitors, specifically Reva, is the moment Vader walks in and chokes her, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, Reva's gonna die now," because Vader
Yeah.
hates these guys. And then he lets her go, and everyone's like, "That's so out of character for Vader. If an Inquisitor made him mad, even if they did a good thing, he'd still kill them. So she has plot armor. She's stealing the spotlight from Kenobi." It's like, we're back to this discussion again. Is everyone saying this is turning into the Reva show? She is the main antagonist. Like, I think
Yeah.
people forget she has been billed as the main antagonist for this series.
I think a lot of people are just upset because they're probably like, "Oh, I wanted more, or maybe expected more Grand Inquisitor, or expected more Fifth Brother," and
And
like,
that's fair, yeah.
I
but
certainly think it
it's.
feels.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think she is billed as the main antagonist, but personally, I still think the presence of Darth Vader makes it feel like Darth Vader's the main antagonist. Like knowing that Darth Vader is like at least aware, I'm just like, no, that's the real
Yeah,
bad
he's
guy
pretty much on
there.
top of it. He's like, "You guys need to be
Yeah,
doing shit, or I'm gonna kill you."
He's very much a threat, I think, more to the Inquisitors.
yeah,
But the Inquisitors are like the direct driving threat to Kenobi. Because if, they catch him, then Vader wins. So it, it is very much like Vader takes on the Emperor role in this, and Reva is kind of like the Vader to Obi-Wan's Luke Skywalker.
yeah,
That kind of lineage thing where you do have the main antagonist kind of backing everything, who is like, oh, they're the big threat. But you do have those like lapdogs that are going out that are actively antagonizing the protagonist.
yeah. That's fair.
Also, I could be wrong, but would you be able to confirm, were those purge troopers in there?
The ones with the black armor.
Yeah, they
I would
looked
assume
like
that
it, but
those
they were
were purge
using.
troopers.
I know some purge troopers use, melee weapons,
Guns.
but
Yeah.
I couldn't
Right.
remember.
I would assume they were purge troopers.
That's cool. I just wondered, it's
That's
like,
cool.
are those clone trooper purge troopers? Because some of them were.
Be yeah, maybe. So I don't know the ones with the wet, yeah, because at least in Fallen Order there's like 4 or 5 different kinds of purge troopers, and one
Yeah,
of them's got a gun, and the rest have like melee weapons.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, but I think that's what they were. Yeah. So I don't know. I liked it.
Yeah.
It was very Fallen Order inspired. Almost freaking down to the infiltration, the way that they get in.
I want to see the
You know,
second sister.
yeah.
Or the
Well, at
ninth
this point,
sister.
they'd both be dead.
Wait, would
Spoiler
they?
if you haven't played Fallen Order. Yeah, because this takes place after Fallen Order.
Well, as I've discussed before, the ninth sister is probably still alive. She just got pushed out of a tree after her hand got cut off. She's
Big
probably
tree though.
okay.
Big tree. Ninth sister maybe,
Yeah,
but
you're right. I got my
but
dating wrong.
second sister definitely got worked by Vader.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
5
So,
years before the series.
yeah.
Dude,
So
it's
I
like,
suspect.
then how on earth did they let Kenobi break in? It's like you guys had somebody break in before already.
Exactly.
And I think that's what some people have complained about, but they do have but that's kind of like a Star Wars trope almost at this point, like because O'Shea's character Roken, he pretty much just is like, yeah, there's no shields because the Empire's basically so cocky they think why would anybody ever attack this base, um,
And
and
every one of the fans laughed.
I'm just like, okay, but yeah, I mean that's kind of a Star Wars thing. They infiltrate. There's a fatal flaw in every enemy base, and like, oh, they get in so easily, and they always manage to scramble the signature. Like, certainly, yeah, it was super easy getting in there, and they should have learned their lesson. But um, I don't know. I guess they just wagging their big imperial dicks around too much.
Yeah.
I also thought it was cool to see snow speeders again being
Yeah,
utilized for like up close combat.
Yeah.
yeah. What are T-47s or whatever? I think.
Yeah.
That's what they're called. They mentioned that they use them for like hauling trash and garbage and stuff.
They like the snow speeders remind me of like or well, I should say this. The like crate drag speeders that they use remind me of like the snow speeders, some
Yeah.
old tech that's used for something else that they use primarily for combat. Kind of cool.
You guys got anything else? I had a few questions that were kind of that I wanted to ask that were scratching at my
I've
brain here.
Go for
I've
it.
got nothing.
So the first thing that I kind of noticed when I was watching this the first go around, and if you're if you watch Rebels and if you've read the magazine, comics and stuff like that, and the Inquisitors aren't very good at their jobs, just in
Yeah.
general. Or the yeah, they're not. They take a lot of L's across the board here. One thing that I noticed right away was like, do you think that Reva noticed that Leia was like good with the Force? Like, because she's using like Force mind manipulation stuff on her, and she's just getting walked by a 10-year-old. Like, I don't think she meant like at one point I think she says something like, "Oh, you're tough. You're a tough one,"
Yeah.
but
That's
it's
like the
like
only thing she really
she is
said.
she's a 10-year-old completely working your Force skills. Like, you would think like she would be like,
Maybe she just
shit,
saw
like
it
what's
more
going
so
on
as,
here?
oh, she's just strong-willed. I don't know.
Perhaps.
Rather than like, oh, she's blocking me with the Force or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, but it kind of reminded me of like when Kylo tries to get into Rey's mind and he can't. He's like,
Yeah.
she's strong in the Force. She just doesn't know it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, Kylo greater than Eva in terms of
Definitely.
Force capabilities. So, but I don't know. That was something where I was like, your whole job is to track down Force sensitive people, and
Right.
here you've got somebody just whooping your ass in the Force, and you seemingly have no idea.
But that's also kind of funny to me because then later on in the episode, you have literally two force sensitive beings walk right past two other inquisitors
Yeah.
with with one of them hiding under a coat very
Yeah,
poorly.
that was the roughest part for me.
Yeah.
For me, yeah,
Was
I was
the
like,
coat part.
what? The fact that they walked past inquisitors and I'm like,
Yeah.
they should have been at least smart enough to go like, hey, that's weird, or
Doesn't look
hey,
right.
I sense something,
Yeah.
you know. But
Yeah.
oh well.
I guess the way you could explain it away is that like typically the Inquisitors were like not the best of the best Jedi's. Like they were usually like pretty mid to low tier
They were
Jedi
just
Padawan.
violent and they were good with their lightsabers, but not
Yeah. So
force.
I don't know. That's my first question. Then there's one thing that I can't believe I didn't mention in the 90 the recap. That's a little bit of my fault there. While Obi-Wan is going to find Leia, he kind of walks through like a trophy room of presumably dead Jedi and Force sensitives. The first one that it kind of, and this will lead into my question here. The first one that it zooms in on and kind of freezes on is Terra Sanube. If you're familiar, he's in Clone Wars. He's in a little arc where Ahsoka loses her lightsaber, and he has to help her recover her lightsaber.
Okay, I
I think he's
didn't
in. I
pick
think
up
it's
on that, but that's interesting.
I think it's season 1 of Clone Wars, and also he's a super old. Like, this is kind of a fun little nugget. He's super old. Like,
Yeah.
he's even in the he's like an adult.
Is he
He's
the
like a Jedi
one
Knight.
that
The High Republic.
makes like her like lime green lightsaber? Is that right?
I don't think he makes her
Well,
lime
she
green
He like
lightsaber.
helps her or
she,
But
whatever.
lose, she loses it when she's on Coruscant. Somebody steals it, and he
Okay.
helps her find it.
Yeah.
he has like this almost white, like turquoise lightsaber or something
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
remember that guy.
he's little fun fact. He's actually he was around during the High Republic era. So he's has to be at least 230 years old, if not more, at the time of his capture there. And I think he also was, but he was originally, or at one point, he was a High Council member as well.
Wow.
So he's
He's
certainly noticeable, albeit
Yeah, I didn't. I
Duke's
they
old.
they lingered on that, and I wondered. I was like, should I recognize that guy? But I didn't
Yeah.
pick up on that.
And my other question was they lingered on several, and he was the only one that I recognized. And I haven't watched any like Easter egg videos or anything, but did you guys recognize any of the others? Should we have known them?
Not
No,
from what I could tell,
but
other than just like, oh, that's a youngling.
Yeah.
right, the youngling is like, oh yeah. But there was one lady who everyone was kind of posting side by side. They're like, this has got to be Seer from Jedi Fallen Order, and I'm like,
Mm,
no. Like if she's just a black woman, y'all are racist. you just you see a black woman and go, oh look, it's Seer. Um, it's just they're
yeah.
not the same.
Guess we haven't seen
So
Seer in the
no,
newest trailer, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's not her. Um,
exactly.
and I
Oh, the other thing that they were saying was like, um, O'Shea. They're like, oh, his wife was probably Riva, and I'm
I'd
like,
heard that theory also.
I
Oh
don't think I
wow.
like that theory because Riva seems like she probably has been an inquisitor from a
Most of
young
her life.
age.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Wanna
So
I'm gonna loop back around to that one here in a second because I had one more kind of with the bodies and the trophies there. My
yeah,
my my question then is like, do you think they're just keeping these like as a trophy, or do you think there's like more to it? Because with Mando and the sequel trilogy, there's a whole lot
yeah,
of like messing with force sensitives, Palpy's
and
clone
bodies
kind of
inside of
thing.
like goo containers and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
they're like,
So do you think it ties into any of that, or do you think it's something similar to like what they did with Luminara in Rebels, where they basically like kept her in a they used her force energy to like put out a pulse to try to lure in other Jedi?
I think that might be more of the route that they go is just
Yeah.
that very sadistic kind of way. Honestly, I think it would have been cool to see like Luminara inside of
Uh,
one of those things. That would have been a little
yeah.
more like confirming of that
Right.
side of the theory. But yeah, I think they just use them for force sensitive this and that. So
Yeah, I'm interested to learn more about that. Um, then back around to Roken, who's O'Shea Jackson Jr., Ice Cube Jr. There. It, there was that theory, oh, that maybe Reva was his wife, which I have a hard time believing. Like, they would have had to. The timeline just feels weird in that would have
mm-hmm.
had to like been she would have had to have been on the run, and then they would have had to gotten married super duper young, and then she would have gotten caught, and then she would have had to be, I suppose it's possible, but
Right.
I'm skeptical. Now, certainly he does say that he was married to someone who is a force sensitive and maybe even a Jedi. I don't think he says that outright, but he does call Kenobi, he does call him general at one point. So
yeah,
he's clearly aware of at least his status during the Clone Wars as
Yeah.
a general.
Maybe that
Um,
woman that we saw was his wife, and that's why they lingered on it so long.
perhaps, yeah. Did you guys think that his character, and maybe there's still episodes left? Did you think his character would be someone bigger? 'Cause I think he
I didn't
kind
even know
of.
who he was until like when we first talked about him on here. So
Well, I think the reason that I think that I asked this is because he even teased on Twitter like, "Oh man, like can't wait for you to
Racists are gonna hate my role.
yeah, can't wait for everybody to see my character." So like I don't know, just kind of the way he phrased it made it sound like maybe he would be somebody bigger, and maybe he does have a bigger connection somewhere. But
I'm also wondering that about Kumail's character. He's only been in one episode.
I wonder if he'll come back.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe at this point he doesn't.
Yeah, he might not, but I was expecting more than one.
Characters that will probably have bigger roles based on the episodes they're introduced in. I think Kumail's gonna show up again. I think that Ned B. Droid is gonna show up again,
Sure.
and I think OSHA is pretty much going to pop back up again. I mean, like they're literally on his ship, so I think he's gonna get more depth. It also, frankly, it wouldn't surprise me if the very next episode is a Riva backstory kind
I
of
think so.
episode
I
or
think that's pretty
something.
likely. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't want it to be exactly like the Mando kind of detour. I want it to still have like plenty of Kenobi in it, but
Mhm.
like, yeah, sure, give us like a little bit of like the Riva backstory and how
Yeah.
it ties into
I think it's
Kenobi.
time. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it's
I,
time
Yeah.
for
I
that.
agree.
Wait until the last episode, and it's gonna be too late by that point. It'll be like it'll feel like Demon Slayer whenever they're like about to cut off a demon's head, and then you just suddenly get flashes of the demon's like tragic backstory, and it's like,
Oh,
oh, now I feel bad. Oh well,
dead.
perish.
Yeah. I never seem to feel bad for those demons because, like, hey,
No,
things weren't great for you, but you've also murdered hundreds and hundreds of people. So,
exactly.
I had two other questions before we move into our five video games here. One other thing, similar to the people haven't seemed to be liking this episode. One thing that I've seen a lot of people say is, it's another thing that like I don't get it. People keep talking about this like ruining or potentially ruining the continuity, and I guess am I missing something? Like,
Continuity for
what
what?
is it that? Well, like I assume they're talking about like, oh, how Leia, you know, acts like she doesn't know him when she sends the message. She says, "Oh, you were a friend of my father." Like I think they're saying that this kind of like goofs up some of how it lines up with Episode 4, like with Obi-Wan's character, and like that's why I'm asking because like I don't honestly see what everyone else is seeing. I
I
guess.
I can I don't think personally I agree with that, but I can kind of see where they're coming from in a way. But I feel like at the time of Kenobi delivering Leia to Bail Organa, we will see a connection with Kenobi and Bail that will say, hey, they're friends. It's my dad's friend. Because, she's been skeptical about it this whole time. And I think she'll
Yeah.
finally see that and be like, okay, yeah, he is my dad's friend. And maybe that's why she, refers to him as my father's friend.
Or
I don't
I
know.
think something that some people point out is um, when Luke's like, "Oh, this droid belongs to old Obi Wan Kenobi." Is that And he's like, "Oh, that's a name I haven't heard in many years, or whatever." Like, I think they complain about calling him Obi Wan versus calling him Ben, like
Well,
weird
isn't
little
it still
things
like, what,
like that.
another 8-9 years?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
9 years is a pretty long time.
right. Yeah.
The like everyone complains about like stupid
Of course, like
continuity things, but
There's
honestly, it's
plenty of
not that
time. Yeah.
it's not that deep, exactly.
Yeah.
Like they're complaining about continuity regarding like specifically his hair, I know,
oh
because they're
yeah,
like, "Oh, how does he go from looking like, a sexy 53-year-old to ugly old 63-year-old?" It's like it literally Ewan McGregor is 10 to 11 years younger than Alec Guinness was. Plus it's desert planet, two
Right.
suns, no sunscreen. But
It'll happen.
also like continuity errors are just gonna exist. You know, like Obi-Wan basically being like, "Oh, Yoda was my master," and then it's like, "No, Qui-Gon was your master." Oh, like Yoda stepped in after your master. Why wouldn't you mention Qui-Gon? It's like,
Right.
oh, but
Yoda's everyone's
whatever.
master. He's the
Right.
Yeah,
head
exactly.
master.
Yoda's everyone's master, so you can explain that away.
Yeah, like
Um,
Jedi call every master master. Like,
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So it's like there are already like existing continuity, or oh, like Leia being like, "Oh, I remember my mother. It was from whenever I was very young, and she was beautiful." And it's like, you don't remember your mom because she died like right after you were born.
Right.
well, I think one thing that
So,
could, and this is, I
and
did see
that one
something
is like
similar.
Force vision
Yeah,
kind of
because like
thing.
even Obi-Wan says he remembers stuff from when he was like 6 months old or whatever,
And
which
also,
6 months
whenever
is
he was doing
different
those
than.
flashbacks, like whenever he was having nightmares, he was seeing visions of Anakin from episode 1 destroying that ship. And I'm like, you weren't there for that. You were watching your master get murked.
Yeah. Yeah. So my last question then, because I'm glad we're kind of all in agreement on that. My last question is, there's currently rumors. I don't think there's any solid confirmation, but currently rumors that there will be a season 2, but also recently I'd been hearing potential rumors of a Reva spinoff
What?
show. I don't think it's
Oof.
confirmed. If they did it, do you think they would do a prequel or a sequel? Like if they did a sequel, I think at some point you would have to get like a Reva redemption arc. Like I could see her on the run from the Inquisitors, maybe. I don't. This personally feels like I don't.
I don't
This
see
one is
a.
necessary. If
Yeah.
anyone gets a spin-off show, I think it should be Tala, because she's been really interesting. But I could see her showing up in Andor. So
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was
I
thinking.
don't know. I feel like
We
as much
definitely
as
don't need a Reva show. I don't hate her character, but
correct,
that's just not necessary.
it feels
And I
Exactly.
don't know that I outright need a Kenobi season 2.
still agree. We'll
No.
see how it finishes, but I'm not 100% on board with the
Yeah.
season 2 at the moment.
Right.
Because like you said last time, Caleb, gotta stay on Tatooine a bit.
Right. You got to.
Now in the
And
comics, there's a point where Black Chrysanthemum comes to Tatooine, and Obi-Wan
and
has to fight
there's
him.
the Darth Crate stuff. They could adapt that to, obviously, you can't go the full Darth Crate route, but you could keep him on Tatooine, keep a Tusken Raider Jedi for a season 2. I'd be down for
Could
that.
be. That would be the better approach, I think. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my final question then. So I guess you guys got anything else?
Negatory.
No, I'm loving the
Negatory, he
show so
says.
far, and I plan on continue loving it.
Yeah, I think these next 2 episodes will probably be the best.
Agreed.
Good chance that they will be.
Agreed. Yeah. Usually, yeah, they seem to like, at least with a lot of the Disney Plus shows, like that second to last episode is usually like the best one. So curious. But yeah, we'll switch gears. We'll transition to top 5 Star Wars video games here. There's a lot.
Yeah, there are a
Let me
lot.
look up
And I
how
honestly,
many.
when I was looking at through this stuff, like there were so many. I was like, I've never played these. I've never played these. There's so
Yeah.
many games out there.
I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see if I can find out how many Star Wars video games there are
There's a
in
They don't
Wikipedia.
total.
count.
Yeah, I don't want to have to go through and count them all. Dozens, I think it's safe to say. I mean, they've been
Yeah.
making Star Wars video games since they had video game technology. So yeah, this says here over 100 video games based on the Star Wars franchise have been released, dating back to some of the earliest home consoles.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there's probably close. There's probably 80 or 90 Star Wars games that I haven't played.
Yeah.
For one reason or another. But we're gonna do our top 5 here. I suspect I'm gonna guess that Caleb and I have. I think Caleb and I will have 4 of the same games on here.
Yeah, it's possible.
Maybe not in the same order.
Yeah, right.
Mm.
If I had to guess, but let's go ahead
I'll
and
have at
go.
least one, probably.
Boy Bailey. Yeah, we'll start with 5. I guess I'll go ahead and go first.
Sure.
My number 5 is Republic Commando from the 2005 Republic Commando. It originally only came out on the Xbox, and I never played the Xbox version, but they re-released it, I think on the PS4 a couple of years ago. So I got it and I played it on the remastered version on the PS4, and it was a lot of fun. It's technically not a canon game anymore, but basically, you're the commandos. You're essentially kind of like the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
You're like special ops clone troopers, kind of working behind the scenes here. It's a first person shooter, but it's like hard. Like I feel like a lot of first person shooters are real spray and pray and stuff.
Yeah.
But this one had a really cool element where you actually have to like command the squad. So like you've got like a sniper, an explosives expert, and then some other dude on there, and that you have to like have them set up in different points all while you're getting shot at. It was just really cool. It has a really fun story to boot. And it was a fun squad of characters, and I just thought it was really neat. I had a really fun time with it. It was challenging, but not like it wasn't so challenging that it became an under the couch game for me. So it's good. It was fun. I would love to see something similar to that in the future because it kind of gets a little dark at times.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was my number 5, Republic Commando. Stuff.
Nice. I guess I can hop in here with my number 5. You might be able to confirm for me, Zach, because this could possibly be on your list. I don't know if it was the first or the second, but it's Star Wars Jedi Outcast. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm familiar. It is not on my list.
Okay, it's the one that I think rented from the library, play on the computer.
2, yeah. There's or Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast.
Yeah. That one. I don't know if it was 1 or 2, but that one was a really fun game on the computer. I really don't remember anything about it other than that there was some light customization. I know you could get like different lightsabers and colors and types and everything like that, and I remember renting it from the library and having a blast playing it. But yeah, that one.
I think that's a pretty popular one.
Yeah, I think it got released on the Switch possibly like a year or 2 ago. Maybe it's a couple Star Wars games did. I think that might.
Yeah, it looks like it's on the Switch and the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Really?
That's fun. My number, the Nintendo 64's Shadow of the Empire.
Good one.
Yeah, like whenever I think about Star Wars games, I always think about that.
I do too.
Just Dash Rendar just going on little adventures, fighting Boba Fett, fighting IG-88, fighting giant monsters and wampas left and right. I don't know. It's good. It's good. It doesn't really hold up like control wise anymore.
Oh yeah, control wise that's whack. Yeah.
Yeah, but like some of those mechanics were fun, like the jetpack thing. It's like, ooh, yeah, it was
a hard game. That was a hard game.
It honestly was hard, and it was kind of fun to like. It even had like a little bit of open world elements, like the level where you go to find Boba Fett. You would never know there's a secret hidden wampa unless you went like looking in every single cave.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those scary things where as soon as you see it, you're like, oh no. And you start running. And if you keep running, you'll like turn around and you'll see it like still following you.
Yeah, that thing chases you forever. It's terrifying. I remember that.
It's so good. I love it.
That is a good game.
But yeah, that's my number 5.
And that is actually my number 4 also. And
nice.
Bailey, you pretty much said everything that I would have said for it. I think this is maybe the first Star Wars game that I like remember playing. It has Dash Rendar, the god. I did
also, yeah, the Outrider is just such a good ship.
Yeah,
good ship. I did try to replay it somewhat recently, probably a few years ago, and yeah, the controllers are a little tough, but it is just so much fun. Like in Dash Rendar, R.I.P. canon, is so important like to the story, but like behind the scenes kind of guy. Like there's one point in there where you bail, you save Luke Skywalker's ass, and it's like if there's no Dash Rendar, game over, right?
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Cool character. I love the IG-88 fight. That's like one thing that's just like burned into my memory is fighting IG-88.
Like on the train, right?
Yeah, and then I think like, are you in a garbage chute?
Garbage chute. Yeah, that's the part I
Something
remember
like
too.
that.
Yeah,
But there's a
something like
tough
Yeah.
train mission also.
Yeah.
So that's my number 4. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, big time, big time. Next up for me would be Rogue Squadron, I believe 2 for the GameCube that we had.
Yeah.
That such a fun game. I mean,
So good.
such like the dog fighting. I loved dogfight. That was like my favorite thing when we could get everybody to play dogfight. So fun. But also
I just remember like playing dogfight just like by myself. Even
yeah, I
I
would
would
do
just
that
like
too.
just fly around and be like, I'm just gonna destroy the environment.
Yeah, that was fun.
Mm.
I mean, it was a fun story. It was a good story.
He plays Wedge in that, right?
Yeah, I think a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Oh yeah, you fly the Jedi starfighter, and
Isn't
you
there
fight against like battle droids and that clone
Go to
gunship.
Geonosis, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Who's the dude that betrays you? Is there like a
He's like this. He's like a through line villain where he was a former rebel who joins the Empire, and
yeah.
he gets like this badass like bounty hunter suit at the end, and then he just gets blown up on Endor, like kind of
Yeah.
unceremoniously. You just literally run away from him as the base explodes.
What a
Yeah.
scrub.
That was a fun game though. It was a very fun game.
Not
It's a lot of
canon.
fun.
Not canon.
Not canon. I just remember I also remember the fucking Dagobah when you're training as Luke, having to hop
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
That was the hardest thing in the world.
Yeah.
I struggled
was
with that so
unnecessary.
much. And I guess hopping the ships on Tatooine, the flat or what are those called, flagships or whatever.
The T-16 Skyhoppers.
The Skyhoppers.
Yeah, when you're jumping around on
Yeah.
those, yeah. Fun game,
Yeah.
fun game.
It is a fun
Yeah.
game. It almost made my list.
Now, please tell me you guys have this game on your list. My number 4, Racers for the Nintendo 64, the pod racing game.
Yes, Bailey, this is actually the second time where mine is one ahead of yours. So Star
Okay.
Wars Racer is my number 3.
Nice. Okay, so yeah, we can probably both talk about that. I literally just got the re-release like during COVID, whenever like the pandemic was going
On the
on,
Switch?
they released it for the Switch and for the PS4.
I got mine on the
And
Switch.
so
Yeah, it's fun.
I got mine on the PS4, and I just went back through, replayed everything, unlocked all the characters.
Even Sebulba?
Yeah, I got Sebulba. I got all
I've
of them.
never unlocked Sebulba. Never.
Shit's hard.
It's kind of tough to do.
Yeah.
The hardest level, if I'm being 100% honest, is like the second to last in the final circuit. It's like that Cloud City-esque one, but
Yeah, I
it
remember Cloud
has
City being
No
hard.
ledges. Or, no walls. So you just fall
Yeah.
off a lot.
Yeah.
if you fall off the side, there's a track right beneath it,
Mm,
and so you're safe. However, the way that track works is if you fall beneath it, it takes you a longer route. So if you fall off, even if you started in first place and you were far ahead, as soon as you fall to that track below, you've lost the level. So it was I hated that mission so much. That was the one that I had to redo over and over again. And then Boonta Eve did absolutely grind my gears and slap my ass around a few times.
Mars Gudo, that's who I played as.
That's who I played as. He's
Yeah.
one of my top 5 Star Wars characters
He was
of all
my
time
main.
because of that game.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like to play as the guy who had like the circle
Yeah.
cockpit.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, Timto
Yeah.
Pagules?
Sounds right, yeah.
Yeah. One who got
Stuff.
sniped out by Tusken Raiders.
Yeah, and he just rolls. This was my 3 also, and like I just feel like this game has no business like being this good. Like, so there's a lot of like prequel haters who are like, yeah, the Star Wars Racer game's way better than the movie, which it's a pretty damn good game, and I think comparably maybe it is like, but yeah, it's just so much fun. It's very, and I'm not usually like a guy who likes racing games, but I guess if you like make a Star Wars racing game, you'll get me. But it's like super fast paced, and it's like intense and like surprisingly detailed for like 1999. Like,
I would not
1964
hate a new one.
yeah,
Right?
Modern.
I thought
would be
whenever they
so
were doing
good.
the re-release that they were at least gonna update the graphics, and they
Mm.
didn't. I was like slightly disappointed, but
Yeah,
then I
it's
just was
fine.
playing the game again. And I was like, it's still fun.
There was a
Yeah.
sequel to this though. Did you know that?
Yeah,
There
and I
was?
heard
I think it
not
was like
great
a
things.
PlayStation 2 exclusive or something like that. And I heard it was good, but just
I don't
like
know. I didn't hear great
I
things
never
whenever I
even knew
looked up
about
like,
it.
any reviews for it.
it's pretty.
I just don't
It's
think
called Rate.
it probably just didn't have the audience that the 64 had. I think that's probably
Yeah,
why.
Probably not, yeah.
Star Wars Racer Revenge is what it's called.
Yeah,
Huh.
it's just
Um,
honestly kind of a stupid name, but
A little
it
bit,
is.
yeah.
It's got decent reviews. It's got a pretty good Metacritic score.
oh,
Hmm.
it does.
Like 75,
I
which
might
is
get that. I got a
passable.
PS2 pretty recently, so maybe that's worth checking out.
But another thing I remember about this game is this was one that like Dad really liked to play too.
Yeah, I remember
Like
that, yeah.
because you could like so, win races to buy parts to make your pod better.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Like it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
However, again, you can only unlock like everything if you win first place the first time you play a circuit or you play a map. So if you lose at any point, like during your run, you are not able to have enough money to afford literally any or all of the parts. So me falling to that bottom level on
Screwed you.
one absolutely screwed me over of a perfect run.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my three. We can just move on to Caleb then.
Yeah,
What you got?
I wish I would have put that. I thought about putting that on my list, but I nudged it out for these other games. But I do have the original Battlefront 2 next up on my list. Never
Ooh.
owned this game, at least for the longest time, but whenever I would get my hands on it through friends or family, it was the funnest thing in the world. Just like playing, like, I don't like what, just like team deathmatch or whatever the heck it is. You just pick whoever the heck you want to run around on
Galactic
Tatooine.
Conquest.
Yeah. Oh, that was the funnest thing in the world. I eventually got it on my PS Vita, but the controls mapping on there is the worst thing in the world, and it's like impossible to play on the Vita.
Yes.
But it is a great game, and people rag on the new Battlefronts, and that's fair. They are fun. I know that that's not what I'm talking about, but they are fun games. But the original Battlefront 2 is still just the GOAT. It is absolutely amazing, and I wish we would have gotten the planned and basically almost made sequel to that game, but it got canned. Oh,
Right.
the footage for that game just looks phenomenal. It still does.
Bastards.
It's so good. It's such a shame.
Oh yeah. Well, my number 3, speaking of GOAT, is gonna be Jedi Fallen Order.
Nice.
It's not my number 1 just because I think it's new and I haven't had time to play it like as much. I've really only done like 1.5 run-throughs. So, but like from what I played, it's really good.
It's so good.
It's
Good.
it's very good. And I know a lot of people are, talking about Kenobi like, "Oh, wouldn't it be great if Cal showed up?" A
Yeah.
part of me is like, Sure, but also I kind of sort of like him just having his own little adventure in the universe." And
I feel like they are missing out on an opportunity if they don't use him live action. Because,
at some point, yeah, I think
but yeah,
it'll be
it doesn't need to be
necessary,
Kenobi, but yeah.
exactly. He could show up in Andor as far as I'm concerned. That's a show that will be full of time jumps. But
He
Sure.
met
yeah,
Saw
I mean,
Gerrera.
just
It's possible, actually.
yeah. But it's just fun. I'm doing a replay of it right now with like all the unlocked things right
Oh,
now.
New Game
Plus.
Plus? Yeah.
Yeah, the New Game Plus stuff. So
Which
I
don't get everything. That's kind of the frustrating part, but you do get you get like the swag and the customization stuff. But
Yeah.
oh yeah, I built my lightsaber exactly the way I want it to be, and I'm just gonna run through with that. And it's still fun.
What color
even
are
on
you
the
using?
second playthrough. I'm using cyan.
Cyan.
I really like that light blue color.
I went with orange first time I
Yeah,
played it.
that's the other one that I'm sitting there like, I kind of do want to use orange, but I really like cyan.
Yeah.
I bounced around on my most recent playthrough. I did one. I think I started out with green, and then I did it. I was role playing, and so when you get your lightsaber broken, then you repair it on Ilum, I changed the color.
I did that.
repaired
Yeah,
it.
I did that too.
I went with yellow.
Yeah,
finished
I
with
did yellow too. I went with yellow too. Yeah, I love the yellow color crystal. I think it's so good looking.
Yeah, that's my number 3.
Okay, that brings it to my number 2 then. My number 2 is Battlefront 2.
Nice.
The 2005 version. It exactly like what Caleb said. Never actually owned it, but played it in many different places and like obsessed with it when I played it. Like so much fun. Like it's so good. The Galactic Conquest mode is just special. Like it's like Risk, kind of like Risk, where you're taking over different planets, and you can have the space battles where you could like infiltrate enemy ships,
So
and just
fun.
like the style of combat was kind of like it wasn't a first person shooter like the new ones. It was
Right.
third person a lot, and you could run around and like get in different ships and things like that. You didn't have your specials or whatever, like in the other game, which they're fine. The other Battlefront games are fine, but these are just so much better. And I remember I can't remember, but I was playing one time. Like I was like the last guy left, and like I don't know if we were playing against one of the Van Heises or something, and like one of them was in a tank, and I was just like running around them, just like shooting my blaster at them for like 15 minutes, trying to destroy this tank. It's kooky, it's ridiculous. There's the cool different types. You could be the sniper or the heavy or all this stuff, and you could pop it in as a Jedi or a Sith was just like whoa.
Yeah, so
And
good.
one thing that I just adored is one of the most satisfying things is just like kamikaze flying your ship into the enemy's capital ship,
Oh
and
yeah.
then just like
Oh, so
running through there
good.
trying to destroy it from the inside.
Yeah, just trying to get as much damage as you can before you probably
Yeah.
die. Yeah.
So great. So yeah, and I didn't honestly know that there was a almost done planned sequel. So
Yeah,
you got to
that
get it
footage
back.
looks so good.
They got to get
You
something
gotta
like
you gotta
this.
love whenever you die in space. You just see the pilot like just suddenly attain gravity and just fall directly down.
They got to get something. But yeah, that's my 2. Battlefront 2. Never owned it. Still one of the best.
Yeah.
So, all things
Yeah.
considered.
My number dose is Fallen Order. Great game. We've talked about it a lot. Very, very great game. Not much else to say besides I'm very excited for the sequel.
Super hyped.
Super, super hyped for that. And I still think that they should use this Cameron dude in live action somehow, just because it's him. It's him. He's an actual actor. He's got experience. It's perfect. Somehow. Or honestly, I mean, I think what they should have done is they should have done like a cool live action trailer for the game and just used him.
That'd be neat.
Just for like marketing purposes, that would have been cool. But I don't know. Yeah, Fallen Order. There we go.
Well, my number 2 is I'm kind of surprised no one has said this yet. Lego Star Wars, the complete saga, the 1 through 6. Not the Skywalker saga, just the 1 through 6 edition.
Really hates the sequels.
Sequel hater.
No, nah, I should have known that was gonna come.
Confirmed.
But no, it's just that game. So much fun. Like again, like the Racers, Shadows of the Empire, like a lot of good memories with that game. Also just Lego's ability to tell stories without dialogue is really fun.
Yeah.
You know, I like the Skywalker saga, but I just wish it didn't have that dialogue. And even if you
turn
do
the dialogue off, though.
I know you can, and they go back to like the like the grunts and groans, but the thing that made the original Saga series so good was they would do things like physically that would like tell the story. Whereas in the Skywalker Saga, you turn it off and it's like there are moments where they'll just be explaining things with words and all you're getting are just Lego characters standing there going, It's like, I guess there's plot happening. I just wish they would do the thing where they like hold up photos or hold up items and be like, look at this. This is what the story is. And just keep moving. But I don't know. This game, so much fun. A lot of iconic things. Yoda death scream is just chef's kiss. Yeah, That's my number 2.
My number one is can't do this with a straight face. I was gonna say my number one is Star Wars Masters of Terras Kasai. That it was basically like, hey, what if we did like Street Fighter but with Star Wars characters?
Right.
If you've ever
Oh,
seen
I
it,
remember this. They did have
you
the
can play
Tusken
as
Raider on there, didn't they?
you can play as like one of Jabba's palace guards, like the pig guys, and there is a Tusken Raider you can play as,
So
and
you can play as 3PO, right?
I don't
Wait, is
know.
this
I know
your
you can
actual
play.
number one?
No, it's not.
Oh, I
But
was
No,
like, what? I've
I'm,
never even
I'm just
heard of
geeking
this.
out over it.
I just wanted a chance to plug solo because Terras Kasai or whatever is the ancient martial art form that Dryden Voss and Kira both use. So um, Solo 2 happen. My actual number one is Jedi Fallen Order, which is maybe a little bit of recency bias since I have just finished a replay of it myself. I was, I think I just finished it yesterday, in fact, but like this game's just so much fun. Like it also helps that I'm always a person who has preferred a story focused like single player game. Like I don't really, if given the choice between like a multiplayer game and a single player game, I'm probably gonna go with the single player game more often than not. But yeah, it fits in real well with the Star Wars universe. There's really great new characters in here. Like I think Trilla's like a really good bad guy, and
Yeah.
Cal I think's a really fun and compelling character that you get to see as well. He's referenced in one of the more recent Star Wars novels as well, which was kind of a fun little Easter egg. And then like more than anything, and this is something that I noticed on my most recent playthrough. The first time I played, I sucked ass at this game. Like combat is pretty challenging. Like it's pretty tough if especially if you're not like a big Dark Souls player kind of guy. But I played much more defensively this time around, and I never lost to a boss except for Ogo Badogo, that bastard. Um, but like Second Sister and Ninth Sister and Terran Malkos, like I remember them having such a hard time with them the first time,
I'm not trying
and
to
maybe
flex, but I actually don't think I lost at all the first
oh
time I
good
played
for
it.
you.
I think I
Um,
struggled the second time, I'll admit, but the first time, no.
I think, and this is maybe just me being reading in too much, but like I think the first time I played, I was way too like I got to do damage, like offense, offense, offense. Then this time I was like, oh no, like I'm gonna sit back and do it like the way a Jedi should, right, defensively. And I did so much better this time around, and I'm just super balls excited for the next one. Very very excited to see where this goes because it's kind of open world and there's fun customization and cool characters and I'm all in and I think this is pretty comfortably my favorite.
Very, very dope. Yeah, great game, great game. My number one is Star Wars: The Old Republic MMO for the PC.
I figured that would be your
Oh,
one.
yeah, it is so many good memories playing that game. I played that game for years. I still get on every once in a while. Not as heavy as I used to. Just I think the thing that drew me first was obviously it became free. So I was like, okay, I'll check this out when I was really young or whatever. But the time period, the Old Republic, I'm a sucker for the Old Republic. I love seeing hundreds of Sith roaming around and hundreds of Jedi, just this intergalactic war of Sith and Jedi. It's everything I didn't get in like, the movies and that I wanted in the movies, like when I was really young. And it's just so badass. And you got I guess 8 different stories essentially that you get to pick from because you got all the different classes. You got 4 classes for light and good. So it's like 8 different stories in total that you're playing through that you can play through and all this different character customization. And it is an MMO, but you can technically do everything by yourself. There's just other stuff you can do with people as well. And it was just such a great game. I played it for years. It's phenomenal, and I'm ready for a new Star Wars MMO because unfortunately this game's kind of dying now. So I'd love to get in on an MMO from the ground up this time. I think it could be fun. But yeah, that's my number one.
Well, my number one has already been on both of your lists. That is the original Battlefront 2.
Nice.
Classic. Frankly, I just love the storyline. You know, the clone going from Geonosis all the way through the Empire. I
Gotta be
like.
honest, I don't think I ever played the story.
I don't know if I ever played the
Ooh.
story either.
Yeah, I was just
It's-
enthralled by the multiplayer.
Yeah.
And
the
we didn't
storyline
own
is
it, so
really
whenever we were
cool.
playing, it was just multiplayer, anyways.
Yeah, I would recommend, just even without context, just go to YouTube and look up Battlefront 2 PS2 storyline cutscenes, and there will be a compilation, and it's narrated, I think, by Tamora Morrison, doing like the
Nice.
clone's perspective, and it just takes you from the Battle of Geonosis and like what the clones were feeling and experiencing all the way through like the transition into the Empire. I mean, it's not canon anymore, but with the Bad Batch, we're kind of seeing that recanonization. But God, it's really good. The storyline alone, it's kind of like going from Smash Bros. Melee to Smash Bros. Brawl between like the first and the second. Because you know, you just are like, oh yeah, fun fighting game, and then you get to the second one, it's like, oh, there's a plot, there's a story mode.
Yeah.
Oh, this is really good. This is kind of like rips your heart out at times. I miss those days of early 2000s video games.
They're so
Just
good. They were iconic, man.
right? Yeah, take like a fighting game, make a sequel, and put a story to it that's just gonna rip your heart out. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna be my number one.
Dude, they were playing Smash
Fun.
and Captain Marvel. Shout out Smash.
Yeah,
About
but one
Smash,
of the
man.
girls said that she doesn't like the game, so she is the official
Antichrist.
villain
Yeah.
of the show to me.
True.
Right,
How
yeah.
dare
I heard
she.
that and I kind of wanted to like turn it off, but
Cringe. Cringe a little bit. Sorry, I can't do this anymore. This
It's
is
like
terrible.
Thanos I can excuse. Hating Smash? No.
get out of here.
Nah.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
Thanos was right.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, so that is the top 5 for us there. Speaking of Smash, I downloaded Nick All Stars. It's not as good as Smash.
No, it's not.
It's
I
not
think
as
it's
good as
fun
everyone
though.
is saying.
I don't know.
I think okay, no.
We'll
okay.
talk about it another day.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fair.
in greater detail,
You
but
strike me as more of a multiverse, Warner Brothers multiverse kind of guy.
we'll do an episode when that comes around. We'll make
Definitely.
our own roster there. But yeah, I didn't love Nick All Stars. I mean, but it's hard to beat Smash Brothers because Smash Brothers. Is
Right,
just
it's like the
that
goat,
It's
good.
the
yeah.
blueprint.
Yeah.
It's the blueprint.
Well, all right. I think we'll probably call it there. I think next week we'll probably take a break, take a week off,
Yeah.
and then
We're all
do the
busy.
last two episodes of Obi Wan Kenobi. 2 weeks from now. So
Yes, sir.
that is the plan. You guys
Have a
got
good
anything
week,
else?
everyone.
All right. Yeah. Have a good week, as Bailey says.
Yeah.
Bailey, sing your little heart out there, matey.
Cool.
Yo ho, a pirate's life for me.
In your role, Bailey, do you method act? Do you just get like super boozed up before you go on stage? Like just drink a bunch of rum?
No, I probably need to.
Not do it. I dare you. Okay, well, Bailey's got to get started drinking because he's got a show soon, so we'll leave him to it. And peace.